If you've never played a game that's so much fun it's impossible to put down, then you've never played Best Fiends. Best Fiends is the best Match 3 style mobile puzzle game out there. It's basically an action-packed adventure and a brain-boosting puzzle game all rolled into one. Most of the Match 3 games on the market are just the same old format with different colors. And maybe cookies instead of candies. But Best Fiends is different. You play through an actual storyline, complete with adorable collectible characters called Fiends. As you get further along in the game, you'll watch your Fiends grow from wee baby versions of themselves into full-grown characters. The more you play, the more powerful and helpful your Fiends become. So if you're tired of crushing the same old candy, give Best Fiends a try. Download Best Fiends free today on the App Store or Google Play.
Play Best Fiends. Download free.
The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
What up, Hoop Ballers? And welcome to another edition of Hoop Balls DFS today. This is your Tuesday, October 26th edition. I am here with the one, the only DJ Sammy Caps. First time back this season. Awesome. Missed him last week. Recorded it by myself, but he is back here to break down this awesome 5-game slate with me, man. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well. I apologize about that last week, Santino. I had little other things going on, but I'm back here. It's awesome being back on the pod, and I'm ready to get in these games.
Awesome. Yeah. And me too. We have a nice 5-gamer here. Couple of the dud teams, couple of the stud teams, and a couple right in between. So I think it's going to be a good one. And before we get into it, I do want to give a shout out over to our guys at Manscaped, the #1 men's below the waist grooming. They have all kinds of products for you, from the crop preserver, from the crop preserver, from the lawnmower 3.0, and much, much, much more. The boxers, my personal favorite things. Those things are like just cotton balls. They feel so good. And the shirt. But you can get so much of this and more in the Perfect Package 3.0, which includes the Lawnmower 3.0. They're continually making great products, and it just gets better and better. I've had the 2.0 and now the 3.0. They've all been fantastic. But you can get 20% off and free shipping if you enter the promo code HoopBall20. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code HoopBall20. That's HoopBall20 at manscaped.com. Don't miss out. The holidays are right around the corner, and for many, the holiday shopping has started already. So you're going to want to get on over to manscaped.com and enter the promo code HoopBall20 for 20% off your entire order and free shipping. All right, man, let's jump into this nice 5-game slate. I think the first game and the last game are probably going to be the most exciting games, but we have the Philadelphia 76ers traveling to New York to take on the Knicks, and we have a later start time for this. It's 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. This is the first game of the night. That's the first tip-off of the night. We have a pick'em for this game. And the Knicks are, well, I was going to say the Knicks. The game total is 216. That is the lowest of the 4 that we have. We're just missing one game total and spread. Same game that doesn't have the spread or total. On the injury report, we have Nerlens Noel as questionable for the Knicks. On the Sixers side, we have Andre Drummond, Joel Embiid, both questionable. We have Shake Milton, Grant Riller, Ben Simmons, all out. I'll throw it over to you, man. Do you think Embiid plays? He played through the last one. He's probably likely to play this one, but how are you feeling about this? If Embiid plays, if Embiid doesn't play, what if Drummond plays with no Embiid? There's a lot of ways to go around here, but how are you feeling about this Sixers squad?
Yeah, absolutely. Embiid's tough. I think he's been playing through it so far this year. I think unless a huge setback happens, we'll see him out on the court tonight. And Obviously, then if he doesn't, we'll be looking at Drummond. But I have my hopes up for Embiid. He's been averaging 21 points per game, almost 8 rebounds, 7.7 to be exact, and 5 assists so far this season. And for fantasy or DFS perspective, he's been averaging 46.4 points per game. And the Knicks are third in the league in giving up points per game. So I think Embiid has a real chance to play at Embiid level. Just because, just like I said, the Knicks are giving up. They're third in the league, but it's averaging out to be 121 points per game. I think I got that right. Some quick maths there. But, I mean, just it's Embiid, and we know he's going to put out his numbers.
Right. Anyone else besides that center spot that you're looking at?
Let's take a look here. Tobias Harris. I'll be looking at him. Really only those two on the Knicks or the 76ers side of the ball. At least in my opinion, just Embiid and Harris.
Yeah, and I think Embiid's just a very tricky guy to peg if he's playing or not. I know he played through the last one. I don't know if he's going to play through this one. It's seemingly every game he's going to be questionable. Game time decision probably for the foreseeable future, as is usually the case unless he's ruled out early. And this year is no different, even though it just started. But yeah, you said something earlier that is just weird. The Knicks, one of the best, if not the best defensive team last year, has been giving up points in bunches to start this season. And two of those games were against the Magic. The last 2 games they played against the Magic, they only gave up 96, then 110. That first game went into double overtime, so Boston scored a lot, but they gave up over 100 points per game in 2 games against the Magic. So that's not very good for this Knicks squad that played great defense.
No.
If Embiid does play, I am going to look at him. I think that's a solid price tag. If he doesn't and Drummond does wind up playing, I think that's a steal. We saw Drummond in his lone game before, or he played 2, but he had 17 rebounds in that first one, only 19 minutes. Then he had 10 rebounds in the second game, only 18 minutes. If he plays and there's no Drummond, that's just, I can't imagine him getting less than 10 rebounds in a whopping amount of minutes. Other than that, I do like Tyrese Maxey. I think his price tag's getting a little higher, though. I really liked it when it started at 4 and then 5.3. Now it's all the way up at 6, so I'm not in love with it. I really wish it was back down to low 5s. I would like it. Harris isn't bad. I don't know if I'll pay for that on this slate if I have Embiid. If there is no Embiid, that's a really good price tag, and then we can look at Curry again. But with Embiid, it's probably for me just Embiid, like you mentioned before.
Yeah, I agree. I think just Embiid and Harris have been playing well together, so I think Harris is gonna still do his thing. Yeah, I agree with you.
Some coffee's fast, but not fresh. Some coffee's fresh, but only after a long wait. Speedway coffee is made fresh at the push of a button, hot or iced, so you can have fresh coffee your way, right away. Find a store near you at speedway.com/locations.
Hear that? Is that America cheering or a sausage patty sizzling to perfection? It's time to cheer for Egg McMuffin and fresh cracked eggs at McDonald's. It's time to wake up to the aroma of freshly baked biscuits and treat yourself to a real honest-to-goodness morning meal. Breakfast, it's on at McDonald's. Now enjoy a large iced coffee for just $2. Add a breakfast sandwich to make a meal. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
I like it. Then I'll jump over and take the Knicks squad. We have Julius Randle at 9.5. 2 games already out of 3 this year, over 60 DK points. He hasn't played a game less than 30 minutes all year. I know it's only been a short season, 3 games. And that was in a whopping 25-point blowout. He still got 30 minutes. So we know Tom Thibodeau loves to run his guys as many minutes as they can handle. And Julius Randle is the perfect example of that. And I like him, but I don't like him as much as Embiid if he plays. And I think we have a lot of options on this slate. that I don't think I'm going to run right to him. I mean, we have Jokic coming up later. We have Luka coming up later. We have Curry coming up later. We have the Lakers squad. A lot of options, so I don't think I'm going to have much Randle, though his outlook does look a lot better if Embiid doesn't play. That said, probably not going to have too much exposure to this team. I think everybody is priced really solidly. We have Rose and Kemba splitting minutes pretty much and splitting in the middle of 57 and 52 DK points, or DK points price tag. We have RJ Barrett at 5'6", Fournier at 6'2". I think this is a very deep team and balanced team that I want to see it play together or play out a little bit more before I run in there. I do like Mitch Rob at 5'4" if Embiid doesn't play, but if he does, I'm probably just going to leave the Knicks alone. How about you, man?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. It's a tough matchup for the Knicks, just because I see Embiid as that force. I think if he sits, I think the Knicks have a chance. But I'm not really looking on their side. I mean, I have, like you said, Fournier, Rose, and even Robinson. And I'll talk about Kemba a little later, but really not much. They're all kind of just like see what they do type of plays.
Yeah. I think they're a good team. I don't know if I just want to take it here more. And I would take a couple chances, I guess, in GPPs, like an RJ Barrett. Mitch, more so if Embiid doesn't play, but I don't really like anybody too much in the in cash games, especially. But let's jump on over to this next game, man. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have 4 of these 5 games have different start times, so it's pretty cool. You get half hour in between most of the time to tinker some lineups if you need to, but don't tinker too much. And it's never a good thing. But we'll jump into the second game. We have the Golden State Warriors traveling to the Oklahoma City Thunder. We have a 10.5-point Warrior road favorite spread and a 224 game total, which is tied of the 4 that we have for the highest total of the night. On the injury report for the Warriors, we have Iguodala as probable, Kuminga, Thompson, Wiseman all out. On the Thunder, Derek Favors is resting. And then everybody else is just either G League or not in the rotation. That's out. Start with the Warriors, and I'll throw it over to you. Can you pay that whopping $11K price tag for Curry? Yes, granted, he's had a fantastic start to the season. Nothing under 58 DK points, but they're going against the Thunder. Do you think they can keep it close enough to have Curry play Curry type of minutes?
Yeah, and that's the big question. I mean, it's kind of a gamble because I think the game could get a little out of hand, and Curry's going to do his thing, and they're going to want to keep Curry for later on in the season. I mean, we saw, I forgot what year it was, Curry pretty much sat out the entire fourth quarter a lot. And I don't know. I mean, it's tempting. It's 11,000, but I mean, there's in the guard position, I feel like there's other places to where we could really save up. I could talk about it later. I'll touch on it now, but people like Derek White, he's going at 6,500. And I think if you're not going to spend up on Curry in that guard spot, I think White would be a good fill-in for him. But I mean, I can't blame you if you do spend up on Curry because, I mean, it's Curry.
Yeah, I liked it. And I'm with you. Curry's more of a GPP guy to me because I'm looking at it thinking, I don't know how much ownership he'll have on the people that don't just do quick lineups and actually study, because you're looking at this matchup. OKC, early game. I know they're away, but OKC is just bad, and the Warriors are playing fantastic, led by Curry's unconsciousness. 11K is a hefty price tag, but in GPP, if he has slightly lower ownership, I'll take my chances that he can still put up 50 in limited time, or hope for a somewhat close game where he can still play 30 to 35 minutes there. But in cash, I just can't fully trust it. It's just so many variables, but so many of them say this game is leaning towards a blowout. Even the spread's 10.5 on the road. So I can't trust Curry to play a full complement of minutes and bring back the value that I want, especially with all the studs that I mentioned, like the Jokic's, the Doncic's, all these guys on the Lakers, the two people in the last game that we mentioned, all on the spread. So it's tough for me to go there. But outside of Curry, who else are you looking at?
Not really much. I mean, Wiggins has been playing decent this year. He's been hitting a little more threes. So I'd be looking at Wiggins, and I would just take a look at Draymond. I want to see more out of him, honestly, especially for a 7,100. Fantasy points in the last game, he had 30, which is looking more like himself. But he's just averaging 10 points per game. And I don't want to pay that price tag for Green right now. He has to show me a little bit more.
Yeah. And I would like Draymond. I think that the price tag's really good, but I don't know if I feel about that in this matchup. You can easily expose whatever front court rotations Coach D is putting out there right now, because he's mixing and matching his centers every game, and they're all playing like teens amount of minutes. It's crazy. But I just don't know how close this game is going to be, so I don't know if I want to go 7-1 for Draymond. Similarly to Curry, if I don't have exposure to Curry, I'll take Draymond in GPPs, but I don't trust it in cash. But I don't mind Poole and Wiggins in both. I think Poole especially, even if this game's a blowout, they'll play him a little bit more, let him run the offense, let him just cook on this. So I think 5-9 here is solid. And he's quietly had 2 games, 30-plus fantasy points. So I think this is a matchup where he hasn't been playing a boatload of minutes anyway, but he could secretly see 30-plus minutes in this game. He saw 32 in the last one, first time over 25. And I think even in a blowout, he can see minutes here. With that said, Otto Porter Jr., I like him. I think he's been playing pretty well, 4,200. I don't know about how many minutes he'll definitely play, even if it's a blowout, because they want to preserve this guy. But I think that's a solid price tag to tackle. Same with Damien Lee, a guy who's been getting a lot of minutes. He's played 29, 29, and 23 at only 3,800. I can see him climbing up to that 29 again, especially in a blowout, possibly hitting over 30 to get Curry some rest here. And he can bring back 20 fantasy points, which on a slate like this, you're going to want to take some chances on some cheap players to bring you back some value there. So I don't mind looking at him either. And that's pretty much it for the Warriors. I think you can take some chances, but not too many. All right. Jumping on over to the Thunder side of the ball. It's tough. Is this game going to stay competitive for long enough to where everybody plays? Are they going to chop up minutes? We already have Derek Favors out, so that's 10 to 15 extra minutes on the night. He's played 20, 19, and 10. And now he's out, so that possibly goes to Isaiah Roby. That possibly goes to Mike Muscala. That possibly goes to James Robinson Earl. I really want to say James Earl Robinson, because that's just an awesome name. But I don't know exactly how I trust this front court. Darius Baisley is a guy who can play center, and secretly when he was playing center his rookie year, that was his best stretch when he was playing rookie, but he hasn't played center once in this. They don't really play him center ever since Coach D took over. So I'm not sure if he's going to get there. They could always start him at center, Pokemon at power forward. I think that would be intriguing. But outside of that, I don't think we'll get that. Here, though, I think we can look at Josh Giddy. I like this kid, 5,800. He's going against Curry in this one, though, so don't know how much I'll like him, but I think he can live up to the moment at 5,800. I mentioned Pokemon, 4,100. That's just cheap. I don't know if he's going to play minutes, though. This whole rotation is just crazy. Very hard for me to trust people in cash, and I'll just take some chances in GPPs with like a guy like Baisley, with a guy like Pokemon. Maybe whoever gets the start at center. If it's Roby, I'll take another chance at him, knowing that Favors can't take 10 minutes up there. And I like Giddy too. I don't think I'll go for Shy in this one, or Dort's going to spend a lot of time on Curry.
Yeah, I mean, the only other guy I had was Baisley, other than SGA. there's really no one else that I would go for. But again, SGA is 8,100, and I think we could definitely have better value down the line at guard tonight.
Awesome. All right, let's jump on over to this third game. We have the interstate rivals. We have the Houston Rockets, traveling all the way across the state to Dallas, taking on the Mavericks. We have a 224 game total, same as the previous game. And the Mavericks, similar to the spread of the last one, are 11.5-point home favorites. On the injury report here, we have no one of significance on the Mavericks and no one of significance on the Rockets. We will jump on over to it. I'll take this. Well, let's switch it up. I'll take this one. I'll take the Rockets here. Christian Wood. I like this kid at 8'4". 2 games in the 30s and then 1 blow-up game for 31 and 14 when he played OKC. I think this is a pretty good matchup. We know Porzingis he's a pretty good defender, but last year he had his downfall. He wasn't the greatest of defenders. He's starting to play a lot better this year again, but I think Christian Wood is in for a solid game here. I think this is going to be slightly more competitive than given. I know it took Dallas quite a few games last year to start getting into the swing of things and catching their groove. I think it could be another slow start for them possibly. This game could be slightly competitive, so I don't mind taking a look at Christian Wood. Kevin Porter Jr. is now under 7K, so I don't hate him there. I would prefer him over Jalen Green, who's now really close to him. But another 2 guys that I'm looking at outside of Christian Wood, Jayshawn Tate. And this is what I said in my last podcast that sorry, I had audio troubles on Sunday, so Mike had to fill in. I recorded an entire 50-minute podcast, and then I played it back, and there was nothing. Really annoyed about it. I didn't even realize it until I was told. But Jayshawn, yeah, it was the worst. Dan Bespris was putting it out, and he said, "Hey, it's just 49 minutes of empty audio." What? And I went back on just to make sure I didn't send him something wrong, and it was empty. I don't know what was going on with my audio. I didn't have it on mute. It was really just obnoxious, but there we are. But yeah, back to this. I like Jayshawn Tate at 5'3". I think this kid's versatile. He plays a little bit point forward sometimes. He's going to play in a blowout, even if it is a blowout or a close game. He's starting. I like him. And Alperen Sengun at 4,300. He hasn't topped 20 minutes yet, but he's topped 25 fantasy points in 2 of those 3 games. At 19 minutes is his high. Sooner or later, he's going to take that starting job, and he's going to be playing 30-plus minutes a game. Daniel Tice is not long for this on a super, super rebuilding team, and he's a solid player that could fetch a decent young player in return or some picks. And I like Sengun. I think I keep saying it. He hasn't topped 20 minutes yet, so the upside isn't crazy yet, but downside isn't that bad right now. He's been putting up solid value, and if you need cheap value to fill out this star-studded slate, I don't mind taking a shot at him at your center position or your utility position. But that's pretty much it on the Rockets side of the ball. How you feeling about that?
No, I think that's where I'd be leaning. Really, Christian Wood and Tate. He's been surprising me this year. I know he had a good year last year, but just that he's keeping it up. And I think as long as they give him minutes, he had 35 minutes, I think, in yesterday's game. I think he could do something and help us out.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Dallas on the Mavericks side. Obviously, we're going to be looking at Luka and Kristaps, but really, I'm looking at Tim Hardaway Jr. I think he could have a good game. He's at 6,700 for his price tag. And I think he's someone that he could give us some value at the even shooting guard or forward position. He had 40 minutes a couple games ago against Toronto, and I think he did decently well. So I think he's a good fill-in tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, and then Luka is $100 cheaper than Curry, so he's in that stratosphere up there.
Right.
They're all up there. Jokic's up there too, 10-6, and then we have the drop off. I don't hate Luka. Similar thing to Curry. Is this game going to stay competitive long enough that we need Luka to play 40 minutes, 35 minutes, even 30 minutes? Because this is a just bad team. I think it's going to be more competitive than we think. So I don't mind going Luka there, but pick your poison. You're getting fantastic player either way. You're going to have to pick one, or him or Curry or Jokic later on tonight. But outside of him, we have some options. Like Porzingis had a really good game in that second one, dropped over 44 fantasy points. I think we can look at him again if we're in that range. I like him a little bit more than Draymond. I think they want to get into a groove. The Warriors are already in their groove, it looks like. Dallas needs to hit that groove. Outside of that, Dorian Finney-Smith, that's a solid price tag, 5-1 for a guy who just plays a lot of minutes and does a lot of different things from game to game. His upside isn't fantastic, but his downside is about 22 points, 20 points, which won't kill you if you have to play him there. Outside of that, I'm not in love with everybody. We can always look at Reggie Bullock or Jalen Brunson if you think it's a blowout type of game. Brunson can score and play a lot off the bench. If they want to rest Luka, if they're up 20 points or so, Brunson can run the show there. So I don't mind looking at that. But that whole front court is just like a jumble for me right now, and I don't feel comfortable attacking it, especially in a game that could get out of hand, and then the rotations are even more whack than they currently are. So I'm looking at the upper tier guys for the Dallas, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, yeah.
All right, man. Let's jump on over to the next game, the second game at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We have the Los Angeles Lakers traveling to the arch rivals, one of their arch rivals in the San Antonio Spurs. This is the only game that we do not have a spread for. No spread, no line as of this moment, but we do have an injury report. Trevor Ariza, Sequoia Dumboya, Wayne Ellington, Taylor Horton-Tucker, all out, and Kendrick Nunn out, and LeBron James probable for the Lakers. On the Spurs, we have Devontae Kaycock and Zach Collins both out. Throw it over to you. How are you looking at this Laker team? We're seeing LeBron, AD, and Westbrook all learn how to play with each other. We're seeing Westbrook starting to put up those near triple doubles again. LeBron kind of hurt his ankle in the last one, but he said he's good to go. AD's been playing relatively solid all year. But how are you looking at them, and is there anyone outside of that big three that you can take a look at?
Yeah, I'm going to be a little hard on Russ. I'm sorry, guys, but I think I would be really looking at AD, and I know LeBron's probable, but, I mean, he's going to be out there. I'm not a big LeBron fan, but I'll give it to him that he's another tough player, so I think he'll also be out there. And I think with those two, I'm not paying $9,000 for Brody. I don't think I'm doing it just because he was averaging a triple double last year and he was only 2,000 more, and we knew it was almost guaranteed. And again, it's that guard spot. So I mean, just outside of those two, I'll be honest, I'm only really looking at AD and LeBron in this one on the Lakers side, I would say. How about you? Who do you think you're going to be looking at?
Yeah, I think I'll be looking more so AD. LeBron did sprain that ankle. I mean, I shouldn't say sprain. He came up limping for a little bit, but he's probable, so it's nothing serious. But that's that same ankle that he hurt last year. It looked like he hurt it or tweaked it in the preseason. He was limping around one game, didn't come out, but that's an ankle that might be a problem. And as a Laker fan, those words coming out of my mouth really hurt. But that is a story that might keep coming up, even if it's just tweaking, even if it's just uncomfortable for a minute. But to pay 9.4 for that scenario, I don't love it at the moment, especially with all of these other options on the slate. For the one guy that I like, I will take Anthony Davis, whether he's playing power forward, whether he's playing center, preferably when he's playing center. But 9.2, the $200 discount there. We know what we're getting from AD. It hasn't been the blow up game yet. he did drop 57, then 50, 42. So he went down each game as Russ went up. But AD has just been real rock solid. I think value is had there easily. And then he has the matchup advantage at power forward. He has the height advantage on Keldon Johnson. And if McDermott goes or Thad Young, he has the height advantage, muscle advantage, the offensive repertoire to take advantage of whoever's guarding him. Outside of that, Carmelo Anthony dropped bombs in the last game. They really needed it. 5-2. He might get some extra exposure, so I don't really want him in tournament games. But Malik Monk showed himself. So did Kent Bazemore a little bit. But Malik Monk played a rock-solid 21 minutes, hit a couple threes, 12 actual points, 4 assists. I think I would take a shot at him. Hopefully he gets extra minutes there at 4-1. I think we can do worse, especially as I keep mentioning. There are a lot of top guys on the slate, so I want some cheaper value to be had there as well if I can find it. But that's pretty much it. There's not too much to be had outside that big three on most nights.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say one thing. I will say if for some reason LeBron does not play, I will be looking Westbrook's way, but I highly doubt that. So I'm going to be staying away from him.
All right, we like it.
Yeah.
Like it. You think vintage West will come out?
I hope so. I mean, AD, he hasn't. I mean, I shouldn't say he hasn't had a player like AD. He played with, James Harden. Lost it for a second. But I mean, even Bradley Beal. So I don't know. I feel like he always thinks he has to do everything, but he does it and they win. So if LeBron doesn't play, I think it's a possibility we could see him drop a triple double. I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think he would. I mean, he came close with everybody there. So the last 2 games missed it by 1 assist, missed it by 3 rebounds. I think he would get in a triple double, but I think it'd be more the 20 to 25 point than the triple double type of thing, like you're alluding to there.
Yeah.
Then I'll jump on over to the Spurs side of the ball. I think you alluded to one of the guys that I really like, Derek White, 6,500. I just think that's a fantastic price tag. I think he's priced too cheap. Him and Murray are similar players. Murray gets a lot of love that Derek White hasn't gotten the last year and a half, and that's mainly because of injuries. Derek White was injured pretty much all of last year. He came into the season priced so much lower to start, and he's still $800 discount. I think they're similar. They both haven't really been healthy for a long time next to each other, and they've both been with the team for a handful of years now. So it's crazy how they haven't meshed together because they haven't had the chance to too long. But I like Derek White. Both of these guys all around game is awesome. But Derek White has the $800 discount, and I like it there. They both can get rebounds. Derek White blocks a lot of shots. They both get assists. They both steal the basketball. They both can shoot. Derek White's, I think, a better three-point shooter. DeJounte Murray is a better defender. But I like White here. And another guy I'm looking at is Doug Mcbuckets at 4-5. He's been starting. He's been playing a lot of minutes. He can get threes against these, shall we say, older fellas. He dropped 25 points in the last one and 32 minutes. But the last 2 games, he played 31 and 32 minutes at 4-1 or 4-5. Not a lot of people.
There you go.
Here we go. I got that one. Not a lot of people you can say are playing 30 plus minutes and are only 4,500. So he's another guy I like there. Keldon Johnson, if you're really getting frisky, but I don't really want to go with him against AD. Jakob Poeltl I really like, but I don't know how I feel about this huge matchup with just monsters all around the court for the Lakers and old people. So I'm going to stick with White and McDermott as my favorite 2 on this side of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously you look at Murray, you look at Jakob Poeltl, but like you said earlier, I did allude to it. Derek White, he's my guy. He's a $4,500 discount from our guy Steph, and I think he's going to keep it up. And I think it's a great discount to have him in that spot if you're not spending up on Curry tonight.
Awesome. And then we'll jump on over to this last game of the night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the Denver Nuggets traveling to Utah to take on the Jazz. This is probably the game of the night paired with the first game. The two likely best games of the night, with this one taking the cake. It's funny. We start the game with a very competitive game, start the night, end it with a very competitive game. This has a 222 game total, and the Jazz are 7-point home favorites. With the way the Nuggets are playing, I didn't expect the 7-point spread there. But we don't have anybody on the injury report listed for the Nuggets outside of the obvious Jamal Murray, who is out. And the Jazz have submitted just Rudy Gay on their injury report being out. No other injury there of note. We'll start with the Nuggets. And how you feeling about this team? Can you play Jokic? Do you prefer him over the other two monster price guys? And outside of him, is there anyone else that you're looking at against this Jazz team?
That's tough. I mean, you always want to spend up on Jokic. So I wouldn't blame you if you do. I mean, you know where you're going to get there. He was MVP last year, and he's showing us that he deserved that title last year. But another guy I'm looking at is Will Barton. He's been keeping it up. He was up and down last year, but in my opinion, mostly good. And he's been keeping it up this year so far. So I think he's a good guy at 5'7". Even that shooting guard, you could pair him up with Will Barton and get our guy Derek White there, point guard, shooting guard. I think that'd be a great matchup tonight, a great pairing, I should say. If you don't spend up on Jokic, I think we could go back to Porzingis, but I mean that's really about it. I would spend up for so far.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, this is the Nuggets' second half of a back-to-back. The only one on this slate that is playing on Monday, the second night of a back-to-back, though. So they lost at home to the Cavs on Monday. We're recording this late Monday night. They lost, and they only scored 87 points. So something's got to give. They shot.
Yep.
They still shot over 40% as a team, but 23.7% from 3, 9 of 38. I know they're going against the probable best defensive team. I said that maybe the Knicks. This is one of, if not the best defensive teams in Utah. But something's got to give after a very cold shooting night, losing to the Cavs at home.
Come on.
Right. So I don't mind looking at Jokic here. He had 24 points, 19 rebounds, and 3 assists. His assists haven't really been there. And I saw an anonymous player said they don't like how every play call, like pretty much every play call, is for Jokic. So something is weird about that he's not getting all those assists and he's not getting put in the position. He's getting more shot attempts at this time. So if I had to choose, he'd be my third of Curry and Luka, even though he has the matchup that should be the closest. And he has historically dominated Rudy Gobert. Historically, one of the few people who have dominated him. And yes, I don't say that word lightly. He has dominated Rudy Gobert. So I don't hate going there, but I do think we have a couple solid center options out there if we need to go there too. So for that reason, I put him third, probably second, in between one of those two guards, whoever you'd like second. But outside of that, I think it's Michael Porter Jr. time. I'm waiting for this guy to have a big game. He made only 4 of 14 shots on Monday, 4 of 14, 11 points, 5 boards, 3 assists. He's getting more assists than I would think to start this year, but it's about time for Michael Porter Jr. to show up and take on that second mantle. And at 6,200, I think that's a fantastic price tag. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets in that 7K and then keeps climbing, probably closer to 8K range. So I'm going to take advantage while I still can, even in this tough matchup, which is probably going to lower his ownership, even on the second night of a back-to-back. I really like Michael Porter Jr. here to have a nice bounce back. I know you mentioned Will Barton. I don't think that's a bad play. I don't mind him there at 5.7, but for me, I'm gonna just take that $500 and try and ride a first of the Michael Porter Jr. breakout 2021-22 games.
Okay.
I like it. Outside of that, maybe some Aaron Gordon love under 5K. That's not bad. It's not a terrible price tag. We'll have the height advantage against Royce de 5'9", as I like to call him, Royce O'Neal. But under 5K, it's not a bad price tag to take a chance on him. Outside of that, really not going to go after anybody on this Denver squad against Utah. And then I'll jump it on over to the Jazz. And I mentioned Rudy Gobert. He still puts up solid fantasy points against the Denver Nuggets. But he does get dominated, to be honest, flatly against Jokic. I don't know what it is. Jokic's weird game is just a lot for him. And as great of a defender as he is against everybody else and every other team, he just doesn't seem to have the same thing every time he plays I said every time he plays Gobert. Every time he plays Jokic. So I'm not going to look at him at 8.2, and we have a lot of other options. Mitchell could be a different story, 8.7. If we're not going super heavy and you want a competitive game, don't hate it. But I just don't like paying $9K a lot for Mitchell. Probably be looking more so at like a Mike Conley or a Bogdanovich there in the middle. You could look at Clarkson too, but I'm leaning towards my Bogdanovich the most at 5.5, then Conley to get some exposure in the cheaper end. And I don't think those are bad prices. They've been playing pretty well lately, or to start the year. Even Clarkson, if you think it could potentially be a blowout, but I'm going to take my GPP dart throws on the middle pack of the Jazz to bring back some value here and catch some fire.
Yeah, no, those are the same guys I had. I mean, if we're gonna get a guard, I would save up and I would spend it more on Mitchell than like we've been talking about Curry. But I like Bogdanovic and I like Conley as well. I think those are my two guys that I'll be looking at. And like you said, if Gobert wasn't playing against Jokic, I would be looking there too. But yeah, I'm a little worried there.
All right, man. And that does it for our 5-game slate. And before we go, I got to ask, and before we do that, before I ask for who your favorite tiered players are, I do want to give a shout out over to our favorite guys out there in DFS at DraftKings. The NBA is back, and at DraftKings Sportsbook, an authorized sports betting partner of the NBA, the key to victory is a strong starting five. New customers can bet just $5 on any NBA team to win their game. And if they do, you win $200 in free bets. Again, $5 on any NBA team to win. And if they win, you win $200 in free bets. So why not make your roster, let's see, Washington, and oh yeah, Washington. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also get their skin in the game with the same game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code NBA today. Bet just $5 on any NBA team to win their game, and you win $200 in free bets again. And if they win, you win with promo code NBA today this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an authorized sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, man. Now that we got our DraftKings love out of the way, we love DraftKings. Let's go back to our favorite plays on DraftKings. Who is your favorite expensive guy to pay for $8K and up? So we're looking at everyone Tobias Harris and up. Who would you take your one shot at? Whether it's money, price, whatever. Same thing. Whether it's upside, safeness, price to dollar. Who's your favorite guy on this?
Yeah. If we're gonna spend up on somebody, I'm doing it on Curry. I'll go for it. Like we said earlier, it might not be competitive, but we know he'll give us that number. So if I'm gonna do it, it'll be on him.
Awesome. And a lot of my lineups, I'm taking some chances in this GPP tonight with all these big names here. I'm gonna try and change it up a little bit. I think my favorite high price guy is going to be Christian Wood. I mentioned why I liked him before. Porzingis is starting slow. He's only 8,400, so he's a big discount for everybody else. I don't like how he only has center eligibility. That's kind of annoying for me, even because he's literally starting at power forward. So I don't know when that'll change, but hopefully soon. But even still, I'm going to take a shot at him for low ownership in some GPPs and separate myself from the field. And that's who I'll be going with a lot in my higher price guys. And I just think 8,400, you could still get another very solid high price guy in there as well. All right. Now for the mid-tier price tag. I think I already know who you're going to say, but let's throw it out there. Who is your favorite mid-priced guy?
Of course, if I'm not spending on Curry, it's my boy Derek White. I think he's the best value at 6,500, and I think he could ball out tonight, even against a Laker team.
Yeah, I like that too. He's one of my favorite mid-tier plays as well, but you have him, so I will go with another guy that's right underneath him, and Michael Porter Jr. at 6,200. I mentioned there's got to be a Michael Porter Jr. game coming sometime. The guy has not shot great from the field whatsoever yet. 6 of 10 in that first game, nice, but he only took 10 shots. 3 of 10 in the second game, not nice, and he only took 10 shots. Then 4 of 14. Not sure what's going on with him, but I think this is one of the best pure scorers in the NBA, and he could be. Maybe I shouldn't say he is yet. He could be one of the best pure scorers in the NBA soon, and I think he starts a very good Michael Porter Jr. breakout game against a letdown against the Cavs. I think he bounces back big time against the Jazz, and I'll take another GPP shot at a guy that I don't think is going to have decent ownership. I think he's going to be very low, and I'm going to try and take another shot at that. All right, man. And let's jump on over to our favorite low tier plays of the night. Who's your favorite value?
I am taking an absolute long shot here. I
like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kemba. He hasn't been playing himself or like himself this year. But I think if they need to get it done against Philly, and I think Kemba needs to show up. I know he's been splitting minutes with my boy D Rose, but I think he needs to show up. And 5,200. If you're not getting the other two guys, Curry, White, I would take a long shot in Kemba tonight.
All right, I like it. And for me, I think there's quite a few people that we can look at. And some of it's going to depend on who's in, who's out. I think there might be some people. I want to know who's actually going to start at center for the Thunder, even though I made fun of it before, because it could change things if we get confirmation. Hey, Isaiah Roby's going to start, and he's going to actually play 30 minutes now this game, not 10. That might change things, but for now, I think I'm going to take a dart throw at Damien Lee. I just think the Warriors are going to blow them right out. I think he can play 30 minutes plus, and he's only 3,800. He's been bringing back solid value already. He had 19.75, 16.25, 16.5. That's pretty much almost value as is. And if you give him another 7 minutes in a very bad matchup, I think value's to be had there. And then you can buy yourself another nice player. I wanted to say Sengun, but I already had a center on my list. So jump in Damian Lee there to bring back safe value that you can buy up for other people. All right, man.
I just realized that went all guards. What am I doing?
Like it, guard heavy. You can fit some guards there. There's 4 spots that you can throw guards in there.
There you go.
I like it. All right, man. That does it. Is there anything else you want to say before we head on out of here?
No, I had a ton of fun. I like Mike, but it was nice being on it with you too tonight.
Awesome. I'm going to tell him that every day now. I'm going to make sure he hears it. But thank you. I appreciate it. And likewise, we'll do this again next Monday. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Again, we like I just said, we'll catch you guys again next Monday. Tomorrow will be, I believe, Dave and Mike should be on tomorrow. Maybe it's Harris and Mike. I think it's Dave and Mike. I forget. It's late. But anyway, thank you guys for checking in. Check out the article that comes out tomorrow. That's also by our good friend Sam. And then we got the Discord. Everybody's on Discord now answering questions and whatnot before lineups lock. Thank you guys as always for tuning in. Check out all of the other podcasts that Hoopball has to offer. There's many, all different types, whether you're a fantasy player, a dynasty player, DFS player, just love the NBA, like the rookies from my guy Will, or any other thing. Check out all those podcasts. They are all fantastic. But that does it for us tonight. Have a good one. Good luck, and hopefully you win some cash.
Peace out, guys.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.
Oh, what's this?
Zenny's 3D virtual try-on. Pretty cool, right?
Wait, are those prices real? Do they have glasses for men?
Yep, they also have affordable blue light glasses.
Seriously? At those prices? Get them all.
I like where this is going.
Zenny.com. Prescription glasses starting at $6.95.